call in.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Meeting will come to order.
We're going to go ahead and start without Rick. First off, Myron, you want us to just get your resolution approved and then we'll get into our other discussions? So,
If that'll work, it'll take but 20 seconds probably.
Yep.
Resolution is for Rick McNamara, who is the blade operator out of the Van Horn shed. He started on November 25th. With the union contract language, you should be getting a pay raise after 6 months, which would be May 25th, which would have been Monday. And so the resolution is to change his wage classification and wage rate. He's currently at $20.75 an hour. It would go up to $21.47, and that would be effective Monday, May 25th.
We have a motion.
Motion.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. That's by resolution.
Oh, that's right.
that's the one I'll need you to sign. Yep. That's fine.
Your shank aye.
Seaman, aye.
Okay. Motion approved.
Rick on yet?
Nancy's got to go call him and give him the info. No, we could probably just get started out. I called you guys off to have a meeting because you know we need to get a plan in place. I know Melinda's got some ideas as well as Lexa because their offices deal with the public more than I do. Once voting's over, all things will be, I don't have to let public in. Do you guys want to start with your suggestions or do we want the help? Do you guys want to tell us about what Tuesday's health board meeting? Since we didn't get an update on that.
The meeting was with the county health
Director
of
Public Health.
There was not a representative from Virginia Gay present. We picked up one more case over the week. And I think the total is now we have 37. And of those 37,
At that time.
one death and
39 now, but Tuesday it was 37.
37
yeah,
cases.
and 29 of those were recovered.
So there's 10 people sick.
No, there's 10 people that we know of
Yeah,
that are sick.
right.
There's a huge difference between what we know and what's out there.
Right.
Everyone was encouraged to keep following your social distancing and personal protective equipment when appropriate.
Yeah. That's the day the governor came out with the new proclamation that's going to start kick in. So we reviewed that a little bit, and then Katie took it with her to review it even more about all the different things that are going on. But basically, things are going to be allowed to be opening back up with still some restrictions. You know, the 50% capacities at these places, and so we as a county can basically do what we want.
Let's say we open up everything 50%. Are we gonna have 100 cases?
I don't know, but we also talked about screening.
From the court administration, they suggested having someone with some nursing background of some sort, and that would give us to do the screening at the door coming into the courthouse. And we could restrict that to PPE required from the general public, which is a sound recommendation at this point. That would give us, if we had someone from the nursing background there, they would have medical direction to go to if there was any sort of a question, other than throw it back on Haley being in charge of the courthouse, saying, what do you think? Well, we could just defer to medical direction. Short term, we talked 60 days. The hospital had no problem. They believed they could supply somebody 8 hours a day with medical direction and phone call.
And then would we pay them back? Or how would we
We
do
would
that?
pay the hospital. Scott has information on.
So, right, two separate things, so I'll stay on with county offices. Any of the PPE I get through the state, I can't give to you. It has to go to care centers. So county will have to purchase whatever PPE we decide we want our employees to have. But that's reimbursable through the Federal Stafford Act that you can apply for. I think with the purchase of PPE, and if we're gonna have to pay the cost of the nurse for the screening, you'll reach the 3,300
Oh,
minimum.
yeah.
So
I've
you
been
can-
saving invoices already.
Yeah,
and
good.
I'm pretty sure we're
Yeah,
probably an hour.
so you'll be able to be an applicant, and then that will be able to be reimbursed. So anything directly related to COVID-19, we should get reimbursed for, just like any other natural disaster that affects county buildings or infrastructure. So that's good.
Is there a
Yeah.
cap, like you said, 3,300?
There's no cap, that's the
That's our minimum, we have to reach.
You have to have 3,300 to even apply, but we'll meet
meet
that
that.
now, I'm sure, with the PPE that we're gonna
And I think
purchase.
some of the wages.
Because like
And the
the
wages, because that's directly related to COVID-19.
spit shields, that
Yeah,
Any
would
of
be
that.
covered?
Yep.
yeah,
And
yes,
everybody's been
Yes.
pretty much, I have them code the invoices if it has to do with anything extra above your normal because of this, so.
yeah. The other part of the fence is the court system, which anything I say wrong as of the information I got yesterday, you can correct me, but the court system has draft guidance out for what they want to see to open the buildings back up where the courts are, which is our building, obviously. They've got this draft guidance out that talks about things to do before you even open, things to consider. Can you move things around? Can you do social distancing? What personal protective equipment that they would like to see, and the training for the staff on how to use face shields, masks, gloves, any of that other kind of stuff. Employee and visitor health screening, so that's where that came in. That's why we already talked about it with the hospital. Mandatory health screening assessments, questioning and temperature checks before employees begin work each day, and for visitors. That's the court's recommendations for opening court back up. Determine who's going to be responsible for screenings, determine where it's going to occur. I mean, we're going to have that all set up, obviously, out by the door somewhere. It gives guidance for physical workplace cleaning and disinfection, and how often that should be done. Any physical modifications and controls that may be needed, signage, so it's a good draft document. It's still draft. This came from the Chief Justice through the court system. As far as the court system, they are in the same boat. I can't give any PPE that I receive from the state, but the state is supposed to be getting a initial stock for all the courts across Iowa of their own personal protective equipment. And then the last I got is, as that initial stock starts running out, the court systems, I don't know if that's going to be done through each judicial district, I assume will be ordering, and then they can be reimbursed too. The judicial districts of the courts are also a FEMA applicant.
When are the courts gonna open?
They want, July 13th is when they want to start opening for
And that's subject to change.
Yeah. because
For
they-
non-jury
Yeah,
trials,
jury
yes,
trials have been
yes.
kicked out till
Yeah.
September now.
Courthouses on July 13 for non-jury trials and September 14 for jury trials. That's what they're hoping right now. That's what they
Right
want.
now, they're gonna try to just do as much.
Good morning, it's Rick.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yep. I'd also like to remind
Okay.
everyone, if you're not talking, to mute, because I've had some feedback that it's echoing a lot today.
Okay.
All right, thank you. I mean, I don't mean you, Rick, but I just meant like if you're not, if those of you aren't speaking, maybe put your phones on mute.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
So the court is still planning on doing as much by video conferencing and papers as possible through the next month or so, to just wait and see what the numbers do and try to keep as many people out of the courthouse as possible.
And the reason probably first, the delay is because of jury trials. By the time you establish a jury and get them, whatever.
Right, and they just wanna try to keep the social distancing, that's why they don't wanna bring jury trials into the court system, because that's a lot of extra people that's gonna bring a lot of extra germs.
You can't social distance 12 people on a jury very well.
And all the people that you have to check in first to even get your jury
Yeah.
picked, so that's gonna be difficult.
A lot of the judges are older too. And if you hire, or if you,
Older and will not wanna be coming in, and they'll be excusing those people right away.
I like the timeline of that than they had first proposed. That gives us more time to work with our county offices so we can get that procedure ironed out better as far as people coming in and out of the building. I would like to see the building restricted to the point where we do not have people in the rotunda areas. They come in, they do their business, that person leaves, another one comes in.
Have you been getting the guidance for county offices
From what?
recently through your auditors association? Because I've seen a lot of that out there too, and that's basically what I've seen that they're all encouraging is that
Or one
we do it by appointment
family member at a
and
time.
one family member at a time, and you go do your business and you leave.
Yep.
So-
Or if any of those options you can do online, or
Then you
save
still
yourself
encourage them
from
to
coming
do it
in where it's
online. Right. But
And the state has come back and said, as long as it's temporary, we can, as long as I do it, Lexa has to do it, because we taught, her and I taught, we can do in-county only for a certain amount of time. But they don't want it to exceed like 60 days.
Right, because of the agreement.
Right.
I would also like to see this occur later than sooner. I still think it is to our advantage to, as the state opens things up and businesses take advantage of that or try to take advantage of that, so we can watch the curve. If we get a huge increase in numbers of people who are actually diagnosed and are sick, then I wouldn't think it would be prudent for us to open our building up. But if we do it at the same time the state opens a bunch of things up, we don't have that advantage to watch the curve. And I'm looking at the county facilities, county jail, my office, the entire courthouse, as long-term care facilities, because are in the same type, because the contact with the public is fairly close and the contact amongst workers is very close. We could effectively, with everything that we've done, if we open up too quick and we don't pay attention to the curve, we have a much greater possibility of actually shutting the courthouse down because the workers are sick. And if we can avoid that, that will be to our advantage. We're still conducting business. I think the more we can watch and observe what's going on, the better chance we have of keeping that out of our facilities.
it would make sense to be behind the curve instead of in front of it.
Watch where the numbers go. And I mean, we can watch them every day at 11 o'clock. we get an update on the numbers, so we would know where they're going. I think we need to use that to our advantage as much as we can.
I've had, if I can just say a little bit too, I talked to we had a district meeting the other day, and a lot of us gave when we thought we were gonna be opening and stuff. So I have several of the districts are already open. Delaware never closed at all.
Yeah.
Jones County, Clayton County have done, and Iowa County have done a soft open where they're letting people in. The Clayton County and the Jones County, the officer at the doors doing the health screening and the temperatures. Buchanan County, they're not doing temperatures. And then it looks like some are going to go like June 8th, Jackson and Johnson, and then Lynn's gonna come in on the 15th. And Buchanan's gonna do a full opening on the 15th. So, and then I don't have Cedar and Scott yet, what they're doing, but that's just kind of what the neighboring counties are doing in our district. Just from my point of view, we're really busy with boats, and you know, it's hard to make appointments for that type of a deal, but I've been trying to take care of the customers as soon as I can. You know, if they drop it off, then I take it back out and lay it on top of the box or something, and they come get it. So, you know, I don't know. I know it's going to take a while. I don't know how long do we wait though? Is the problem?
We are getting lots of calls. We just had a lady call this morning, and
Yep.
she didn't say who Nancy took the call, and it was like, you guys need to be open and reporting to work. And like, Nancy's like, yeah, I'm answering the phone. I'm at work.
We've
But
had people tell us that they think we're getting paid for doing nothing, and they don't realize how busy we are.
hello, we're really busy
We're
right
really
now.
busy.
But
I think it's like when we went to the courthouse security, I think most people understand. I think most people understand what we're doing with this COVID virus situation. You always have a few that are going to be vocal that don't understand or don't agree, and you'll hear from them, but I think that the vast majority of people understand. And I think that they understand if you get one positive case in the building that has contact with, 2 or 3 offices, you can get shut down in a hurry.
Yeah, then you're totally done and you're providing no service to anyone.
And I told them too, I said, if our office got shut down for 14 days, I said, the amount of mail we would have in 14 days, we wouldn't be open for another 14 days after that just to catch up on that. So.
Lexi, all your employees, are they reporting every day? I mean, everybody?
Yeah, we tried during the crucial time, I
Yeah.
guess, I don't know what you call crucial, but we tried to alternate weeks a little bit. So
Right.
we would use some of their sick time and just so we wouldn't have to close down at all. But yes, we've been coming in and working and, just trying to
Full staff.
full staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've
And
been full
I
staff.
feel,
I've always been.
I've got my screen shields up. I've got my X's on the floor. Would plan on allowing 2 people at a time in my office. The rest of them can be out or however we're gonna do the lobby area. Make appointment for a passport, take one person in. So, and I've got my office in the back. If I have an abstractor in there, then they're not gonna be near the passport person. So I've got directions in my office.
And they have their
And
guards up, and
my guards
they've
are
been
up,
preparing.
I mean, yeah. I'm just, it's hard when I realize we've all done our part, I feel, and taken our time and all this. But those of us that have the heavy traffic flow with the county, it's hard to, we can't work from home. I know some offices can work from home and they have no traffic and they don't get the phone calls, from the public as much. But yeah, I get stopped. All 3 of us get stopped
All
at the
the time,
grocery
yeah.
store if we're out and about. When you opening? When is out loading?
Golfing last night, I had
So-
like 3 people jump me. I mean, yeah. People are ready for us to get.
I'm ready, but I may be one of the you, but I'm ready to start taking care
Well,
of this.
with all the counties you just mentioned that some are already doing it, there's obviously, they have policies and procedures in place for how they're doing it, so we don't need to reinvent the wheel.
No, and that's what I
We
want
should
to
get all that
do. We
sent to
need
us and
to,
then decide
do
what
a
looks
public
best
notice.
and
I
figure
know
out how
a
to
lot
do
of the treasurers are doing appointment only. Driver's license, most of them are gonna stay appointment even if the other parts of the office get eventually opened back up, just to control the amount of people. Cause we get lines packed the hallway.
What is your
So,
estimation on, if you just took a shot in the dark, how many driver's license
expired.
could you
we have,
safely or easily run in an hour with?
well, we won't, to do safely, we wanna take, we're gonna start off with only 4 appointments for an hour for driver's license.
Okay.
With, 1 person per appointment, unless it's a minor, they have to bring a parent with them. But they can't bring the whole family for an outing. And we're gonna call them when it's their appointment time. We're not gonna allow them in the building until it's their appointment time. Cause we have to clean everything once they leave.
We talked about leaving the doors locked. They'd have to call ahead for the soft opening.
Right.
We'd get that notice out. They're required to wear the masks to come in. I mean, we want to protect our employees and vice versa. You guys have your shields. I mean,
It's gonna be
I think if we show them the effort and if they give us the effort.
And we're still gonna encourage basic renewals for vehicle registration and taxes and that stuff, they're gonna have to leave it in the drop box if we can leave the drop box out for a
Right.
while. And, or mail, and some of it they can do online or call in.
And I have asked if we could get a more permanent drop box, you know, because on the weekends,
Mhm.
it's unfortunate we bring them in.
Yeah.
But if we could
I've
do
had
something
that
like
too.
we did at the service
Yeah,
center, and continue
Had
to
to
do
put it
like
in
a
that one,
continued
yeah.
drop box.
That's
It's
what
more
I said,
stable, people can't get into it, but then they can still have that option on the weekends.
Mhm.
Drop off stuff.
I like that.
It's gonna be kind of hard, I will say, if they're wearing a mask and talking in their
Yeah.
mask and through our shield. Because I have a hard time right now hearing the people talk through the shield. So that's, you know,
We do
I
it
guess
2
that was
hours.
my next question. I mean, you two are the ones that deal with the public. You know, do you want you and your employees to wear the mask behind the shield? You know what I
I
mean?
told
I don't.
no, my girls, I told them I am fine with what they're comfortable with. If they wanna just wear the shield, that's okay, but if they wanna wear both, or they just wanna wear a mask, I'm okay with
Okay.
that. Cause they've
What-
also got the big shields up at the
What
counter,
about,
so.
what about your patrons though? Are they gonna,
I think.
are they gonna need to be masked?
I
My
think so.
opinion is they should be, absolutely, if they're coming in.
Yes.
Because we don't know where they've been.
Right.
What is a feasible timeline to get something in the papers for a soft opening?
June 15th.
I would say like June 15th, maybe, because next week, definitely not.
Yeah,
The 8th would be too soon to like get in the Star Press, but I'm sure we could get it in our locals and get a notice on the social
Like
media
put on the
pages, on the doors, just so that they have a plan in place and people are aware and they're like, oh, well, I can get that appointment scheduled and,
Because you guys are shot next week.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't want to confuse voters.
No.
Courthouse is not a precinct this time, and I just
Right.
think that would add to the confusion, so.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate it not to open next week, but
And that is a Monday. I like that plan.
me too. I mean, that way, everybody
Get
here
your-
That's the key, right?
has
We've
time
gotta
to
have the-
prepare, get your staff
Right.
prepared, I mean,
We've got to have the written policy for us, so
Right.
everybody that's employed knows what's going on. And then the public needs to see the very same document, so they know what to expect.
Yep.
And so I agree, waiting till the 15th gives us plenty of time to put that together. And all we have to do is reach out to their counties that are doing it, have them send us their documents, and then we pick out what we
yep,
want.
I have a few, but I just haven't had time this week, but.
And that gives us time to definitely watch the curve and see where this goes. I know I've said that a lot of times, but I think that is extremely prudent for us to do.
And I'm gonna talk on behalf of Karen for the parks. She said that they're gonna remain at the level 1 until next Friday, June 5th. And then at that time, they will open up the shower houses, restrooms, and playgrounds in the campgrounds. Cabins will open on June 17th under level 3. So she's kind of getting her plans in place for the campers as
So
well.
is she asking for permission to do that, or is she just
Well, I
doing
think
it?
her, statewide, the conservation. Karen, do you want to speak up on that? You're talking to your your board, right?
That may be the recommendation, but they
Yes,
seeking permission from the board.
we did all of our, when this whole thing started and we talked about opening, we laid out the levels, and what all the restrictions were with the levels, and we were going to monitor at 2-week intervals. So actually next Wednesday will be 2 weeks since we opened the parks, and so far everybody seems to be adhering to the request we've made. We did buy some disinfectant sanitizing misters, and a lot of the county conservation boards across the state have bought these, and they've been proven very effective. So we just picked those up yesterday, and with that in mind, we wanted to give our staff time to be familiar with them, upgrade our signs again, and everything. And again, a lot of this is based on, like I know Ron Tippett was saying, is that we're watching the curve as well, and I'm looking at what all the county conservation boards across the state are doing, and ours is, our board looked at the recommendations and our strategies and our guidelines and agreed with them, and we have another meeting on June 8th, and we had told them at that time we would probably be opening that weekend of prior to June 8th, and they were all right with that. Again, it's just the public shower houses and restrooms, and then the playgrounds, because we now have ways to disinfect that. We have protocols in place as to when we're going to do that.
So Karen, are you just gonna do that, or are you gonna seek the permission of the Board of Supervisors for that plan?
Well, that is based on if the supervisors agree to that. If they're keeping everything shut down, then obviously we're still shut down. Tracy was at our meeting as well and saw our proposals for the different levels. So, of course, if the supervisor says, no, you can't, then we can't.
I guess that's all part of today's meeting.
What's the dates again, Karen, when you're gonna open the shower houses and then go to level 3?
Okay, June 5th, Friday, June 5th, we would look at going to our level 2, which basically everything stays the same except as far as opening the shower houses, which include the public restrooms.
Yep.
And the playground equipment.
Okay.
Then 2 weeks after that would be Friday, June 17th, at which time we would consider opening our cabins and open air shelters. Again, those would have, we're still doing the 6 people or less in a group. We're not encouraging 10 people or anything like the rest of the state, 10 or more, and we'll still keep our limitations at 6 or less per group.
Level 3 is everything's open.
Level 3 would be our cabins in addition to everything, but we would still have restrictions on social distancing and those. And again, this is all based on monitoring. If we start to see people not adhering to the social restrictions and the guidelines, we will reverse.
What about other things like?
Karen,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Karen, this is Rick Primer.
Yes, Rick.
Question for you. The yurts and the cabins, they don't hold much more than 6 people anyway, do they?
Oh, no, they do not. The issue is the sanitation of them right now. And
Right.
we're looking, and so basically what we're doing is, the directors across the state are talking about the protocols in place as far as how often we need to sanitize our restrooms, when we're going to do that, and as well as the cabins. So, and Tobin's needs a new roof. We've got a bad leak up there on those roofs. And so Tobin's would not be available right now anyway. We're working on getting that re-roofed.
Okay. But your open air shelters, if I may, are usually where people, larger groups of people would gather, isn't that correct?
That is correct. So we had a lot of people wanted to do graduation parties and everything at our shelters, you know, where we may have 50 to 100 people, and it's like, we can't do that. So our shelters are closed. People can walk and sit in there if there's 6 or less, but again, this, you know, even the state is saying at 50% capacity. So right now, those are remaining closed for reservations.
Right, at least until the 17th, as per your proposal.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm just afraid that if you're trying to limit it to 6, you know, you still may have, you've got caution tape around them or something now, I presume?
Yeah, and we've got, we have no reservations or public allowed time. So
Okay.
we've got been posting in all our parks and our kiosks and everything as well that these shelters are not available. So.
Right, okay. All right, I just have concerns that if you go to allowing the cabins and yurts, and no more than 6 in a group, I'm just afraid you're gonna have problems with your open air shelters.
Right.
So,
and again,
yeah.
Again, by the 17th, we would be changing a lot of our signs, and we're going to monitor, of course, what the state is doing and the other county conservation boards. A lot of them just have everything open, but they have staff dedicated to that task and that task alone. And with our small county, that's just not the way it is. So, yeah, we're monitoring it pretty closely, Rick. I mean, I'm going out daily onto our director's portal and seeing what recommendations are, and our Tom Hazelton with the county conservation system is doing daily reports as well, which also brings in what the other county boards are doing.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Karen, your other parks in the other part of the state around our area here, are they open too now at a level 1?
Buchanan County is not open yet. Blackhawk is, Lynn is, Johnson is, Iowa Lake is, and I believe Tank is. The other thing is, you know, we're looking at our beaches, and we'll probably open the Hannon Beach next week as well. Lake Iowa and a lot of the beaches around us have high bacterial levels in them, and ours are very low yet. So that's a good thing for our beaches. But the one at Rogers is closed mainly because of the construction of that wall, and so that one is closed for safety reasons.
How long would you anticipate Rogers is gonna be closed? I mean, is that gonna be an issue?
I told him that's his priority, is to get that wall built, so they've been working on it. Like now, of course, the weather gets nice. He and a few of his seasonals are working on building that up and getting that finished. So I would like to see that done within the month. I can't promise that, but that's the plan is not open yet this swimming season.
Sure, okay. So probably for the month of June, it's gonna have little to no use.
Right.
Okay. I personally, and it's Rick again, personally, I don't see a problem with your plan except for the open air shelters.
Right. And we can do that, however, if you want us to keep them closed, they are reservation only. So if most of the time people, when they reserve them, we would have to ask, well, for how many are you planning or anything like that. Certainly if a group, say if we get a family in that is hanging out together outside anyway, or a small group of 25 and they've been hanging out, but we don't know. So I would gladly, look at what the supervisor recommend on that. We do have ways of sanitizing those as well. I mean, we can spray down the tables and everything else, but as far as keeping the people apart, that's the tricky part.
Exactly.
Anybody else from the other departments have anything to add?
I'd just like to repeat what has already been said. I think it'd be a good thing to have a written policy that can be looked at, thought about before a decision gets made.
Do you want to take that on and we can discuss it in another meeting? Like, if I give you some examples?
I don't think it should just be me. I think Scott Hansen said
Well, I
that
meant,
there's other counties.
But right now, I don't have time to be looking at policy for that stuff, but if somebody else wants to help on that, and we can get it on.
My problem is not all the EMAs in the other counties have as good a relationship with their auditor as I do with you, so I would rely on you to get me stuff through the Auditors Association. You can forward to me and I can cut and paste.
Yeah, I'm so evil, aren't I?
No, you're not. But, because I know the Auditors Associations have a lot going on, and I've got a few through the EMA Association.
Yeah.
Very few.
I'm just like reaching out, I'm gonna reach out on Basecamp and just say,
forward them to me
yep,
then, and
I'll
I
get
can,
some policies going and
so I can do the work.
we can tweak them accordingly.
Yeah, until you get through your
At
election.
least till after next Tuesday.
Exactly.
I take it, Lexi, you're ready to open up now, more or less. Get on with it.
Yes,
You just assume, Melinda, you wanna wait?
just a little bit. I mean, it's gonna take us a while to get established to get some.
Are you okay with the
Appointments.
15th date if that's
Yeah,
kind of what we're
yeah.
aiming for?
Yeah, yes, I can do that.
But in the meantime, I feel as department heads, it's at our discretion, like, if you're gonna allow somebody to come in. And to that point, I mean, I have to let voters in, so, and I'm comfortable, everybody's pretty much coming in with precautions, they're wearing their mask, I mean, they're asking,
And
or,
most of ours don't need to come in yet because we were able to, ours are.
Is it uniform though, that if you're letting someone in, we're having them wear a mask and having them,
That's gonna be my question.
Well, we
checklist,
haven't
and having
mandated
them
that.
hand
Then are we
sanitizer?
gonna provide the masks if we're gonna require it?
that's what I mean, we gotta discuss.
Then are we gonna have to have masks there?
I was at Menards the other day.
They
and,
require it.
They require it, or they'll sell you one for $1.
Yep,
Okay.
$1.06.
I had mine, so I didn't buy one. I think that's a pretty good policy.
Okay.
We're gonna require it, and, I don't know that we need to just supply them to the public. That could,
But maybe at least have a box available, if they don't have one,
I have health issues and I can't wear a mask and you
Yeah.
can't force me to. This is a
yeah,
public building.
exactly.
then when we have that come up in court, people bring in doctor's excuses.
Okay,
And you can call the person up and verify.
And that's another thing that's been brought up, so those
'Cause you know that
employees
will
who
show
have
up
a
at the
compromised immune system, do
People
you
get
guys
turned away all
want
the
a
time
doctor's
until
note for them
the
to
misunderstanding
continue
can be sorted
to
out.
stay from home? Because otherwise, I mean, how do you,
Well, I think they should,
that,
just them
my
saying
thoughts
it.
too. Right, so we need to probably have something like that as far as keep in mind, because for that CARES Act, up to that 75 hours, but there's requirements or for those that are getting paid regardless.
I believe, come Monday, everybody should report to work,
I
all
agree,
departments.
because
I agree.
we're taking lots of phone
I
calls.
I think it's time.
Cause I mean, how long are we gonna go? Because to me, I don't care, I was ready next Thursday. I said that here last Tuesday, and that got out of context through the county. But, all right, we'll go with the 15th.
Mhm.
I still believe once the county opens up, even though it's gonna be just a small minute what we're gonna do, but the parks are gonna open up, playgrounds, movie theaters, everything else is gonna open up. I'm still, my opinion, you're gonna see a big jump in the curve then, up, not down.
Right.
Because people are gonna more interact. You got all the graduation parties are coming right now.
Yep.
So we just don't wanna go back to
Shut down.
old normal.
No.
Because moving forward, there will be a new normal, which we don't know what that looks like. And it's gonna change from week to week or day to day.
Mm-hmm.
So until we know what that is,
And obviously budgets are gonna already take a hit starting July 1st. I mean, we're already local option sales tax, all that's gonna decline, road use. I mean, it's gonna affect every one of us.
The worst thing that could happen is the courthouse closed because of the case.
if we get it in here, that,
Cause you guys all
That
want your
will be the
paychecks,
outcome.
you want your bills, somebody's gotta be in here doing them, so. I agree, we wanna keep us healthy, but yet we have to continue doing our work, that's what we're paid to do.
If you're gonna reopen it and say, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that, if you're gonna say you want everyone to report for work, that's all well and good, provided that we have a strict policy as to how are we controlling who comes in.
Right now, nobody.
Right, but still, you know, if I've also heard people saying, I can bring in an appointment, you know.
I guess my problem with this, some people are staying home and some aren't, is that we've been closed. No one is accessing this building technically. There's a few, but for the most part, we're not being exposed. Here I am, I'll just pick on me for a second. I'm going out, meeting the public. I don't have any option. There is nobody else to do what it is that I do. So I'm doing it. I've been doing it ever since we shut down. That's not to just say that I need a medal or anything, but I'm just saying that life has to go on. So we're going to assume some risk because we are an employee. So we should be here and we should be doing it, is what I think. But I agree 100%. If we're going to open it up, we need to be sure that we're screening, that people are protecting us as well as we're protecting them.
We have a
I don't
protocol
want-
that everyone's on board with and following.
I don't want people in here just meandering around the building. Well, I think I'll go drop in and see Greenlee today because I'm here. I want them to have
Because
an
Justin and Rick
appointment.
have, or we have people like lingering in the hallways, they have to constantly
Right.
try and to
Yeah.
keep the hallways sanitized.
I think everybody should have an appointment that comes here. For the most part, we've had no problem delivering any service to anybody that
No.
needed our service.
Right.
I've
And-
gone out to the cars in the rain to have a voter
Yeah.
sign their envelopes to keep them from
Yeah.
coming in. And they're very
And I kept
appreciative.
going to see all of the people that I need to see, and sometimes we're not social distancing, it's not 100% possible, but,
Right.
you know, I'm trying, but.
We've all been around each other through the month,
have
so
to
I
do
feel
it.
like we're okay. We're not wearing our masks in a public meeting right now.
But I am 100% for that if we have a policy in place, that we follow that policy, but it needs to be a good one. And people are gonna be in here with appointments is what I.
And then I would say we put something in there, if they do need to be health or their immune system, they have a medical.
The employee.
Yes, because we have to prove that for things in the
And-
HR stuff.
We can, would you guys be all right with county residents only for 30 days?
yeah, why don't we?
You
We
can go-
have a lot of county residents that I know need their driver's license.
Well, yeah.
You could
And I
go,
might get that done.
you could go 60 days for me, as far as I care. You could
And
push
I'm
it
fine
to the
with that,
limit.
but I don't know what for Lexa, I don't know if 60 is.
And I have had a suggestion too, like if you girls could put together more of the links maybe in a.
We
in a
have our
and
links
at
on
least-
our
At
website.
least be more open to them and explain to them how they can do their permits online, how they can do, I think if you get things like that in place to share, the more you get that out there, the more people are gonna follow.
For you, Melinda, what I'm worried about, you got almost 3.5 months of driver's license alone in Benton County. You gotta make up.
Yes. I know.
Yeah.
This what blows my mind, you know, I don't know the numbers what you do a day, but to me, you're gonna add another,
When we shut
8% on.
down in March, we were hitting the prime for the real ID. Thankfully, the state has taking that out another year. At that time, for March, we were halfway through the month and had already done over 400 driver's licenses. So the schedule we have developed is still, it's not as many people an hour, but because we have all this other work to do too. But we can probably do roughly around 30 in the day, which is still
That's good.
That's good.
quite that's what we used to do
That's
years ago.
servicing a lot of people.
And if it's Benton County people,
Right.
that'll help a lot.
Yes.
And the kids with their, going from their school license, or from a permit to school license, they can submit the paperwork online, the state's doing it for us. Going from, getting their regular driver's license at 16, the parents submit their paperwork, the state's doing it. So that's to help us there too. So, we've been telling a lot of people that.
I just,
They've been
yeah,
doing it.
keep the
Well,
morning, share that.
I'm looking at some of the residents, the elderly.
Yes, I
They're
got
the
a lot.
ones that are gonna have a heart attack,
Yes,
worried that their life is
they're already having a
expired.
heart attack.
I have people calling me because they want to vote Tuesday, they have to show their
We got
ID,
it.
and
We've got-
normally, if it's expired, we don't. but
We've been filing
it's
6-month extensions for them, helping the people that don't have access to the computer. We can send the form out to them, they're mailing it to us, and we scan it in and send it to our supervisor, and she's getting those sent in. Because they can get a 6-month extension to give them time to get to us.
And Ron's not giving tickets if your tags are expired right now,
It
right?
should
Right.
be, they should have till July.
Because that's another people are
That was
asking.
extended.
Yeah, that is extended. Property taxes extended until, no penalty until June 26th.
So then there again, we're
Oh,
losing
we're
interest
money,
on our taxes.
Huh?
We're losing interest collection.
We
on
are
taxes
losing
already,
quite a bit
so
of interest, really. I figured it up on tax sale alone, was 35,000.
My head has been spinning when I've been looking at numbers, because I'm just trying to think of all that it's gonna affect. It's gonna
That was the tax sale certificates that those people,
buy up.
well, and that was the one, and right now, we don't know if there even is gonna be a tax sale this year, which, how to do it. Well, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But they may just suspend it for the year.
Well, I'm thinking that's what they're leaning towards. That's a lot of real-
So
Yeah, it is.
everybody's gonna get information to Scott. He's gonna compile it. Keeping the guidelines in mind and away
Just
we
looking
go.
for anything specific, so recorders, treasurers, especially your associations,
What's-
just send me what they're talking about or what they're doing. It's probably gonna line up with everything else, but there might be something special that's going on that I don't know about, so.
What's a good date we should have that by?
Sooner the better, probably because if we wanna get that to our public.
Yeah, we
At
want it by
least
the
if
night
we
board
can get
meeting, so.
something
We can
in
get it all published.
a plan
Get the
and a
stuff,
date for our notice in the paper, and then we could still always be working on our policy. That whole policy doesn't have to be all published. We just need a
Right,
type of press
Right.
release.
exactly,
Yeah.
right, yes.
We'll have our guideline to publish ready by the 5th, so it can be in that whole week of the 8th.
Well, for the Star Press, you have to
Yeah,
have it there the
Wednesday.
week before.
Yep.
To get to that Wednesday, you have,
Yes.
yes,
It's gotta be next Tuesday.
and that's one of our official papers.
Because I
so-
submitted my stuff for our job opening, and I thought I got it in early enough, and they still didn't put it in till this last.
Right, you have to be really careful,
Yeah.
so.
It's gotta
So
be
the
done
sooner
by
the better, you
Well-
notify them and get it
Everybody
scheduled.
gets me
We need
stuff.
that last week.
I can probably get you,
I can get you mine.
I can already get you some stuff right now, it won't take long.
Alright, send it over, cause I can start working on it Monday. My calendar is pretty much white right now, as you can imagine, so I'm catching up on a lot of stuff in the office, so I'll make this one a priority Monday and Tuesday, put it
Except for
together.
deliveries.
It's not gonna be that hard, because I know this stuff's out there already.
Yep.
Then what about the employees? Are we gonna wait till later on?
I think they should be reporting now because they need to be helping get these plans in place, in my opinion. And start preparing their offices for these procedures.
Now, your workload upstairs, it had to slow down, didn't it?
It's slowed down in the sense the cases have slowed down, but we still have court every week. We're still having hearings, we're doing it by phone.
Phone and all.
I'd be dressed like this today, but I've got court at 1 o'clock. So, crime is down, it appears,
Mental health calls are.
Mental health is up.
Wait,
but that's up.
Our own problems and within our, right?
We're still, collection's still collecting money, and that hasn't really dropped off very much.
That hasn't?
Hasn't,
The collection part of it?
it hasn't. It's dropped off a little, but not,
Yeah,
we were thinking it was.
They ain't got no jobs out
Their
there.
stimulus checks are helping
Yeah, they've
out.
been buying trailers and boats and
I mean, at least that's a good thing. They're keeping it within, right?
that's still giving us our income.
What's happening with your department?
We've asked everyone in the county, and this came from, I believe, from the court, things that people can be issued a citation for, or promised to appear and released, we are doing. If someone commits an offense and they need to come to jail, then they come to jail. We recently had the magistrates hold a couple of people, so we've got, even trying to keep the numbers down, the numbers in the door down, our population has risen low. The mental health calls have just about run off the rails in the last 2 weeks. Really up.
Has the girls at the Access Center been helping?
Yes. They have been busy.
I got a call, speaking of that, from Kenny yesterday. They are not gonna have the cleaning lady come for a while because they're feeling comfortable with how things are going on. I think Dick is really stepping up and doing, yes, he's been cleaning, he's been doing above and beyond, and Tracy's been there working on the walls, which you've seen, and so kudos to you, Tracy, because I've heard, yesterday I had 2 calls, so take you for your.
Dick's wearing the carpet out
Yes,
on the home.
yep, Dick
He
walking and
says
he's
he walks
marking
6
it,
miles
yep.
a day.
He's gonna have to go up and down the stairs
He
here to
lost-
get in those
He's
miles.
lost weight.
Yeah, he has, I noticed that the other day when I saw him.
Yeah, Tracy told him he had to pay for the new carpet in there.
We're gonna require him to move the furniture in the middle, down this side, up this side, and then reverse it every other mile.
I think the food pantry ladies like him too, because he's been helping do stuff there.
Well, the trucks.
He always is helping out.
I don't know, that's
Help us
another
a lot, too.
thing for Ron, when we do open that, how are we gonna bring Rick, or bring him back, or keep him there?
We'll bring him back because that system over there is fully functional.
They have the door capabilities now, right?
Yes, our issue was, we didn't know it. I'll tell you that later. It's a security issue.
Yeah.
But there will be one person doing the check-ins because we're just gonna allow the one person in at a time, screen, check them in the building. The other person will be, once the court opens up, they'll be on 2nd and 3rd floor. Until the court opens up, they'll be on basically the 2nd floor and just keep people moving.
Making sure they're not lingering around and.
Mark has requested, just because he's told, I've heard it, that if, when the people come in, they would like it so that
Oh,
they're
yeah,
not bringing
that's
their
right.
bags and cell phones, because
Yep.
they don't wanna have to
Yep,
handle
so
nothing.
if we could put that in our public notice as well, because that is a good point, your cell phones, you don't know where
Right.
who's handled them, and it's the more we can limit them to touch coming in and out would be great.
I've read a piece where cell phones are thought to be as dirty as
You got a lot to remember, but
Yep.
Bring
I forgot all.
Yep,
I'll email
mine
it.
is dirty.
I
we
think
just
that,
re-listened to all this,
I think that is in one of the other
It's
counties.
amazing.
yes, I did see
Things
that
that I've
too.
seen though, but I'm gonna write it
I
down.
forgot all about that.
Research.
Mark said that from earlier.
It's Rick again here. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
And this is really difficult because I'm only catching bits and pieces of many of the people that are not close enough to the mic to hear. But to kind of get on with this as a recap, what you're looking at is opening up the public facilities, courthouse in particular, 15th of June, correct?
Soft reopening.
soft opening,
And-
but appointment only type thing.
By appointment only, and the individuals for their appointments will be screened, not only over the telephone, but before they come in. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay. And we're looking to have all county employees report to work June 1st.
Well, that's the only thing we ain't got, yeah.
That's Monday.
Okay? Yep, that's Monday. I have a couple questions though that I'd like to ask. If there's a backlog on the appointments, somebody takes more than their 10 or 15 minutes that are allotted, are you going to have somebody standing in line inside?
No.
Or are you going to have them
No.
waiting outside?
Outside.
They're waiting outside in their vehicles,
And
correct?
then Melinda will get their phone number when she schedules the appointments,
We'll
and then call them when they're ready to allow them in when the other person leaves.
Okay, very good. All right, yeah, that works.
But
Okay.
obviously, if they have an appointment a week before and they don't feel good next
Okay, now the departments, the treasurer's department, et cetera, has the plexiglass screens up. What about secondary roads? Is there any of that? I've not been up secondary roads.
Myron,
Is there a plexiglass screen?
well, right now they're closed to the public as well. So Myron, are you still on?
I'll get that.
We've got a plexiglass screen at the front counter, Rick.
Okay, good. All right, well, it's been closed to the public. I didn't know if you had one or not, so that's good. All right.
We had one made in the interim here and put it up for when that does come. I thought it'd be a good measure to have regardless of what we decided to do.
You betcha. You bet. Well,
Hey, Rick.
again,
Rick?
yeah.
Dana?
This is Dana. I don't have where would I get a plexiglass little screen, or who makes those? Because I can close myself in my office here, but Terry
I have a couple.
to the other drive.
There's been some, since it's such a big demand right now, there's been some vendors soliciting some for fairly cheap. You can get them for like $80, some of them. I know Tracy's made some handmade ones, but he's kind of burned out right now with other projects, but.
I can email Dana the
Yeah,
government
well,
form based on-
Dana, Alexa's gonna email you where she got hers. They're really nice if you wanna look at them too, and Belinda's are good too. So there's a bunch of different variations. And I'll also
Okay,
add,
yeah, that'd be great.
I
So
have extra.
they are
fancy
available,
things,
correct?
so- Yes, they're available.
Okay.
And
All right,
I
very
have
good.
extra
Well-
spray solutions if anybody needs it that was free from the state. I took as much as I could get for free. It's for elections, but I have plenty. And when I Scott, you saw it, I have plenty. And I have spray bottles, I have face shields. I mean, so if anybody's needing that type of stuff, before you buy it, please check with me or Scott, because there is some things we have, so. If it's for your employees.
Okay. All right. Well, it just seems like this has just been going around and around talking about the same stuff over and over and over. You know, we kind of need to.
That's what we want to get done today. That's why I didn't want to do this Tuesday.
Yep.
So I would probably,
Well-
you guys need to make a motion on your intent, and then we'll get our public notice, and then we'll work on a policy.
On which way? The employees coming back?
Yeah, that's what, you kind of need to have something set and make your action, I would say.
I've got a question before you make any motions. I have, without naming names, I have 2 employees that I would regard at in a very high risk category. And so one of those individuals is extremely effective at working from home. The phone rings right to him at home, et cetera, et cetera. What's the big rush on me requiring that person to be back?
Like you said, if you put that in the policy for a medical excuse that they have a compromised immune system to work from home. I mean, why couldn't they provide that and then you allow that, and then we have no question?
Well, and then the next part of it is, I want to hear what you folks on the board say to that first, because then, depending on what you say, I'm going to have a say on it too.
Okay, we'll play your scenario. What's gonna happen on the 15th? Is he gonna come back then?
If I saw a written protocol in place that had been approved, and I felt that it was, safe, or at least as safe as we can make it, then I would be leaning strongly towards, yeah, we'll have him back here. I haven't seen anything in writing yet. And everything he's doing
David,
right
you
now.
can.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Rick.
Can Okay, thank you. You know, from what I can see, the protocol that we're setting up, the screening process, the appointments, that's no different than what the clinic here in Benton is doing, or they're in Benton. I'm out of town. But, you know, if these folks are indeed at high risk, and if they have regular doctor appointments, they're already going to the clinic or grocery stores, etc. You know, I think the courthouse has shown a proven fact that, you know, we are a pretty safe environment, and, you know, we're taking all the precautionary steps just like the clinic. And, you know, I don't see an issue with them coming back to work for their health. Now, if they've got a doctor's excuse, totally get that.
Okay, so what you're saying is if we're given a written doctor's excuse, then you're saying department heads have the authority to create an exception.
Well, how do you argue with the doctor's excuse? And it's got to be for a period of time, nothing, you know, extended like for 6 months, a year, something crazy like that. You know, it's, you know, county employees should be working for the county at their office or assigned position there. And I get it that you've got some that are extremely efficient working from home. But yeah, if they're at ill health, should they be working in a public facility even during good times?
Well, remember though, we as a county have an official policy. We do not discriminate against those with disabilities. So
Correct.
I don't really think that's a question you want to talk about. At least I legally advise you not to talk about it anymore.
Well, I'm always good for sticking my foot in my mouth. So, but yeah, I think they've got a doctor's excuse to believe that was Haley that brought that up. That's suddenly different.
Well, like, and I know.
You know, where they should not be out in that public due to the coronavirus. But then that doctor's excuse, is that going to keep them out of the grocery stores?
Well, either you're accepting a doctor's excuse or you're not. That's why I'm trying to determine what you think your answer is.
You know, if it's just due to an age thing, hell, I should never come. So, yeah.
Also, did you guys want to?
What's everybody else? What are the other concerns or thoughts regarding the doctor's issues if it's a true health issue?
Are there any other people in the courthouse that have medical concerns? I'm sure there are.
I think all the departments is still working full. It's just the court system up there, right?
What do you mean by working full? We're doing cases every week.
Excuse me, in person in their office.
Assessor's not.
No, there's lots of times.
Assessor's not? Well, they're losing Vicky, right?
Yes, but I mean, there's times when the phone's ringing and then they call the auditor's office because
Oh, really?
they need to know what's
So
going
they're
on.
not.
So, because that
We're still
original,
filing documents every day.
I understand.
We're having hearings multiple days a week. We're just not doing them in person.
The hearings that you're having, are you doing them from your home or do you actually?
I do them from upstairs.
Okay.
If I need to file or I need to
Yeah,
have something.
yeah. But your other employees,
When they have court, they're here. But right now, we have with the new phone system, we can have things forwarded directly to their phones. They have computers at home that they've been set up with. They can log on to their computer just as if they were in their seat.
okay?
Collections people, if you call, it rings directly to them. we have them coming in right now, you're doing mail and processing the paperwork that comes in that way.
Just one?
Usually just one. We've had one day where we had both of them in because we had a lot of stuff going on. And actually collections they've really adapted well to this current situation, and they haven't dropped a beat. My concern is, I don't have a problem with people showing up for work, but I do have two people that I would regard, and I don't want to get into their health situations in a public meeting, but, you know, one of them is in an extremely high risk category. And I don't want to bring that person back and then have some protocol that someone in the department's not following. He goes to the restroom, whatever, and then I have a situation.
You know, we have more on your behalf. You have a health condition, obviously, and you're, like you said, reporting. So.
Yeah, I could get a doctor's excuse, but I'm not going to. I mean, but I have a different situation, I get it, but I don't know what the answer to this is, but I have a situation where I have to be here or the work doesn't happen. I can't do it all from home. I could sit at home and I could probably tell people to go on their own, but that's not doing my job, so I have to go do it. It's no different in law enforcement. I have to, a certain amount of, I gotta be there on site and deal with it, so.
Is everybody in your department working?
They're all working, but they have computers where they can work from home.
They are, okay.
Yeah, and we probably will continue that out probably till the 15th.
And see, and that's where it's unfair. There's some of us who just can't work from home, so.
Well, our thought is still that
Not done.
since we're not opening up to the public, as soon as we open the public, I'll bring them back.
There's nothing that's fair about this virus.
But I just figured still, if we can still keep up with the two people there processing stuff there, and they can process it there, then.
But Julie stayed. I mean, she's paid for
If and that's what they're requesting us to do, but filter them in by the end of June. Because still, if one person gets done, then the other two are still healthy enough that I have somebody else coming in my office. So that's why we're still doing that.
Less contact is better.
Right. And that's what they're looking at. So we'll probably filter them back in about the 15th as well, when things pick up.
And by the way, when you guys started the meeting today, I was thinking from the sound of it, we were talking about going to all of this, June 15th or sometime, before that. And I also thought we had quite a bit of discussion about we'd have a written protocol in place. And that's all well and good, and I think we should have all of those things. But I don't see any written protocol yet. And I still haven't heard exactly, how we're going to ensure that anybody who is coming to the building is following an unwritten protocol.
Well,
I have heard, and I'm going to say it, I have heard, well, it's not fair that people have to come into work every day, okay? Sure, I'll agree with that. But if I have folks that I can demonstrate, demonstrably prove can do it, I'm not the only department doing that. Granted, it's a state department. The clerk's office is rotating people. Also, the assessor is. So, I'm sorry that other offices have different job functions that they can't do it that way. But are we doing this because we just want everyone to be the same? Or are we doing it because it's a smart decision to make? I prefer smart decisions, quite frankly.
For example, I have staff that's been here. To me, I can't give them that time off, comp time. They have to use by July 1st. It's so busy, they can't even take their comp time. We don't have it in the budget to pay them out. And then they get told how so-and-so staying home and having a child at home with them and not paying daycare and getting the luxuries that they can't have. So it is kind of unfair. It is not, we can't control that COVID happened. I get that. And I'm not trying to pat us on the back, but I'm getting phone calls, and I know you asked me who or what.
I asked you how many, and I still
I don't
haven't heard
have
an
to
answer.
disclose that. It's not a public request for that.
Sure, it's a public request. Hi, I'm making a public request. How many people have you heard from that are questioning
Well,
this?
I'm just saying, people, in our
There you
first
got a public
initial
request.
news release, we said we're reporting to work as normal. That means answering phones. You're going to try to help your constituents. They want to do their business as best we can in this situation. So that's kind of where I'm trying to get to today.
See, what I'm hearing is, and if you wanna go ahead and do it, that's fine, make the decision. We'll respond. Okay? But what I'm hearing is, I'm not hearing this is the smart decision. I'm hearing we want to make it fair for everyone under this definition of fairness, which I don't agree is necessarily even a definition of fairness, mind you, because some people must be having it easier than others, so therefore everyone report back at work. I, again, will come out and say, I don't have a problem with everyone reporting on Monday, but I want this building locked down tight, and I want every dang department understanding what the policy is. I want personal protective equipment. I want folks being screened. I want hand sanitizer being used, and I don't want any exceptions. And I still haven't heard that. You know, what's the cleaning schedule going to be for the rest of us?
Okay, can you hear me again?
Yeah.
This is Rick. Okay, very good. Well, and this is a lot of dispute over starting or getting all the employees back Monday, June 1st. I don't see a big problem if we hold that off for now and leave it status quo, because we're only talking maybe a few days. I think we need to check with other counties, because I doubt we are a unique situation with two individuals. I think we need to see how they're handling it. I also think, Dave, as a department head, you need to see what you can do within your department to help protect those individuals. If it's wearing a mask, or do they have constant contact with public? I know that people coming in the doors, but if we screen properly, etc., you know, that should all be taken care of. Again, no different than the clinic, and certainly a lot better than going to the grocery store. But I don't know that it's that pertinent that everybody report to work Monday morning. I think we can hold that off and try to get some information, and let's have it on the agenda for Tuesday. Does that make sense?
But I'm not gonna sit in here.
Got to make an informed decision.
I guess I'd like to see everybody back to work at the courthouse or wherever they're working by the 15th. Unless.
Oh, I get that, Gary, but the whole argument here is to have them there by the 1st, which is Monday morning. And I don't know that we're prepared to say those individuals that have a doctor's excuse can stay home indefinitely. You know, I don't know that. And again, I'm sure the state or other counties have recommendations on how they're handling it.
Yeah.
Because they should have some high-risk individuals as well. So, you know, if we need to get this thing rolling, you know, I don't have a problem making a motion that we leave the employees' status as is until after it's reviewed, and have it on the agenda for this coming Tuesday, the 2nd, and that we are opening the courthouse, or excuse me, what's that?
That's why my meeting was today, because Tuesday is a busy day, and I really don't want to sit in here for an extra hour hashing out the same stuff again on Tuesday.
Okay, fine, let's set up another meeting for Wednesday or Thursday, you know? I don't have a problem with that.
I'd say we move forward to the 15th, and unless there's doctor's excuses or something, everybody reports back Monday the 15th.
Scott, can you have that information down by Tuesday then? I mean, we're putting more weight on you.
I'll be here tomorrow. I can help you a little bit more.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
there's a lot of information already out there. All I gotta do is put it together
I
and Benton
just got
County's name
some right
on it.
now
It'll take that long.
I would be willing to help if anybody
Sure.
wanted me to.
Okay, and then The only thing we're gonna discuss on Tuesday then is what
Right,
and that's it.
please.
We're not gonna go through this
You're gonna
whole,
be meeting in the
yes,
downstairs Tuesday as well, because this is gonna be used for
Yes.
absentee board.
will that work for you then,
That's
too?
fine. I would like to keep it as short as possible then.
That work for you, Rick?
We'll have a.
You're gonna have to repeat that, I'm sorry.
Okay, Scott Hansen's gonna draw up the guidelines, for the county here, what our guidelines are gonna be when we actually do open up the 15th. The reason why I wanna push this up, so if we agree with this on Tuesday, we can get it to the paper in time, so it's out in the public's knowledge, so what's going on by the 15th for the appointments.
Sure,
So we're
that sounds great.
I'm putting the whole blame, or not blame,
Yeah.
on your shoulders, buddy. You said you had a white calendar. I just filled it.
That's right. Thank
So on Tuesday, would you guys like to approve Karen's park plan then on the same time, or, because you? I mean,
Did you hear all of Karen's part? I have no problem with it.
So do you want me to put that formally?
With Karen?
Yes. Do you?
Right.
Do you?
That's fine.
Nope,
Put it on the
no
agenda.
problems.
Okay. Do you hear that, Karen? Okay.
Yes, you did, and I would like to add just one comment to this, in that, as a person with a chronic blood disorder and a very suppressed immune system, I think the county handbook was written with no thought of a pandemic in mind. And I think agreeing with, Attorney Thompson, that if a person can monitor their work from home and it can be shown that they are being very productive, and under these unusual circumstances, that should be thought about the next time the supervisors meet.
Well, wouldn't that be part of Scott Hansen's recommendation?
Yes.
Okay.
That would be.
And we could probably
You're
get that
welcome.
out to everybody before
Okay.
Tuesday's meeting,
Okay.
a draft or whatever, so everybody can look it over as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only thing that I foresee is that I know you want to have some kind of what ifs. What if they don't follow the guidelines? I mean, Karen's got it now in the park. They don't follow the guidelines, out the door they go and they don't get their money back. But
Yeah, we got someone that doesn't want to follow once they get in the building and don't want to all of a sudden follow the rules that have been set up, they're escorted out of the building.
Right.
Well, we'll talk about it inside, an hour later. I want us to have a plan that everybody's signed on to and everyone's following.
And can we sell
And
them a
also,
mask?
again, I'm not I don't want to put an extra burden on people. So if we're gonna allow even appointments back in, and I presume they're gonna be allowed to use the restrooms, we're gonna have a cleaning schedule. So I think all of us have been to places where, we've been out shopping or whatever, and we're maintaining they got lines on the floor, and they get done doing something, and then they wipe down, the counter or the keypad. We need to be thinking about things like that. And the other thing is, we need to be thinking about the following. This isn't going to be over in 45 to 60 days. We're going to be doing it again in the fall. And so whatever we come up with, we need to come up with a plan, and we need to probably, still be working on it. One other thing I'll throw out, you talked about having someone with a medical background, nursing background to be the health screener. I do think that you probably could have other people do that. Linn County Courthouse, I talked to them today. They're using Permar Security because they're a jail staff, sheriff's department staff. That's not their job. They don't want to do it. So I think that you can have, as long as you have the protocol, the person knows what they're doing. I don't think it necessarily has to be a nurse. If you can get a nurse and you're willing to pay for it, great. But we need to, if we're going to be doing this stuff, we need to be lining it up.
Well, I think we're pretty much done for today. We'll work toward the 15th and get everything.
next week.
We're gonna have a draft on
Right.
the
Next Tuesday.
And I'll bring everyone back in an hour's notice. If I see you guys got the plan and everyone's signed off on it and we know what we're doing. But if we're gonna do it in a half, you know what manner, I'm not gonna do that.
Is that okay with everyone here?
Right, and
Yeah,
I,
that maintenance
like, I think
needs to be
like
involved.
even us in our bathrooms, if we have a bottle of spray, I mean,
Get a cleaning.
those of us that work here, I don't have a problem spraying down after I'm done working.
What is the restriction? Do you know, Barb, on the bathroom?
I have a
Got any
few
idea
guidelines.
What they're throwing out?
printed. Scott has them too.
Closed to public use.
Yep, cause I have to do it at the
I
pool.
would close them to
Close
public
to
use.
public
Well, that'd
use.
be smarter.
Yep,
but-
cause at the
Yeah,
pool.
Because I know,
we can't keep up, probably.
Just-
Yeah.
Just take that out of the equation.
Because it was on the news yesterday that now they say the 6 foot distance ain't far enough.
I like that
That's what
idea.
they're screaming now.
Close to
so.
the public.
That's what I,
That's-
that's,
yeah.
then, yeah.
I agree.
Because if they're only in here 15 minutes, they can hold it 15 minutes.
Because the bottom line
I
is.
don't
They should be told that at the door.
Yes, yes.
You know, by the
I
way.
mean,
Well,
can we put a
that
sign
can
that
be
says
in the
no public
ad
If they're
that
in a
we're
store
gonna put in the
downtown, you're not
paper.
allowed to go in their bathroom.
Right.
It's restricted.
Exactly.
Scott and I've already talked about that.
Okay,
Put something across the front.
bushes to the east.
Don't encourage that.
There is a court.
Then he'll make money on that for
Yeah.
inducing
That's-
forward.
There is
They got that locked up?
That's good. Yeah.
Well, when you bring that up, when
There's
I
nothing
was
wrong.
over.
Okay, if I can,
Yeah.
please, there's so many people talking, you don't know what's going on my end here.
Okay.
So what do we need to do here? Let's, like Gary said, let's get moving.
Well, we got our plan in place. We're gonna get Scott our drafts that we have, and then hopefully by Tuesday, we'll show a rough draft. If you guys approve it, we'll get it to the papers and get the public notice out when we're gonna open in our plan. Is that
Okay,
meets
That's
what?
it.
Okay,
very good.
We done?
All right,
We're done.
all right.
so it's pretty well beat to death. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, we're-
So now,
Motion adjourned.
Why don't we order
Second.
bodies?
did you talk with Myron yet?
Yeah.
Or did I miss
We
that?
did his resolution already.
We did his resolution.
Okay,
Yep. So if anybody
very
has
good.
agenda items
you
that
got a
has,
motion?
Yeah.
I got it. I got a second.